Oh, goody, goody, here it comes.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show.
You are interested in the unknown, the mysterious, the unexplainable. That is why you are here.
Oh, my God, don't stop now!
With your hosts, Brian, John, and Elaine.
Welcome to the Cinema Psycho Show, the madhouse for film freaks and film fans of all types. I'm your host, Brian Connington, joined by my fellow co-hosts and filmmakers, John and Elaine Woolscroft.
Oh, I think the baby Jesus is about to be born. Wait. No, it's just gas.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, and we're on episode 35
Damn right.
now, which is awesome. And this is actually a fun episode because we have a special guest host with us tonight.
We do.
Thank you for calling me special, Brian. I really do appreciate that.
No.
No,
my bad.
We got somebody
Our
else.
special guest is also named John, but
Yes.
it's not you, sweetheart.
Yeah.
Hold on, I haven't looked to the left yet. Oh, hey, hi, how are you?
We have a comic book artist, indie wrestler, former indie wrestler, and podcaster as well.
Writer.
Yeah. Did I forget anything?
No, just all around Renaissance man.
Renaissance man of sorts.
So you sound like you have the life that I wish I had. Honestly,
we have
race car driver,
philosopher, Jon Towers of Red Horse. Are you still doing Red Horse Radio?
Yeah, we're doing Red Horse, and then I have the new one, which is the Abracast.
Yeah. So he's going to be on the show today, and we talk about his new book that's coming out.
The Ages. It's out on Amazon, suckers.
Oh, yeah.
It's
So
a crazy story.
Over to Amazon.
Yeah, we got a little sneaky peek of it, and by a sneak peek, I mean we got the whole thing. It's incredible. Now, I will admit, I'm a heathen. I didn't grow up with much religion, so could you give us a little more background on the piece and whole? I mean, I was able to piece it together somewhat, but not having too much background in the in religion in any way, shape, or form. Could you give us a little more, info?
Yeah, sure. First of all, thanks for having me in. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
As far as the book's concerned, I've been writing and doing this series of books for over 10 years now, and I get into like a lot of like occult and like the Kabbalah, and I like do some serious like rabbit holes into some pretty weird shit, like as far as like research is concerned. And so like over the years, I've just kind of like I have like this kind of collection of just weirdo shit that I haven't been able to like jam in anywhere else in the story. So because this is so expansive, I was able to like use it as a clearinghouse to like use a lot of this stuff. So like it starts off as like the story of Kane and Abel, except Kane's cast as the good guy in the story.
Yeah, I noticed that. He's kind of the protagonist in all this, which is completely counter to the official
it's
bullshit.
It's actually a theme from an ancient Christian religion called Gnosis or Gnosticism.
The Gnostic Gospels. Is that what you're talking about? Yeah, I've heard of them.
When you say like Gnostic or Gnosticism, it's a lot the same way that people throw around like Christianity. Like there's like Protestants and Catholics, and so there's like a whole spectrum of these crazy ideas from these guys. But the main tenet of it is like the God that we know is actually like a fucker. Like he's actually like like a bad guy. Yeah,
he's kind of a dick.
The Old Testament God, pretty much.
Yeah, he's pretty much your teenager with a magnifying glass burning ants.
So
the book written by your people, Brian.
Yeah, I mean that's cool. It's cool. No. Here's the thing. I prefer a God who's an asshole. Who's the guy with like finger, is killing ants.
Usually it's the second chapter that's the more bleak one. This one is just the first one.
It starts off just like,
hey, kill your kids. Prove you love me,
buddy.
Well, in some ways, these Gnostics are like they go from like a range of whether like he's just like he's not caring or like he fucks everything up all the time, or like he's like maliciously evil. So we kind of like play with that idea. And so Kane in my story is like a rebel, like he's rebelling against what he sees as tyranny, and that's kind of like the through line to the whole.
I noticed that,
like to the whole book, like he's always like starts out in a dungeon or like fucking like chained up to something.
He was chained up, or in one chapter he was like a mummy.
Yeah,
and he's just like whispering in the ear of like Pharaoh, being like, "Hey, don't fuck this shit up, buddy. Like I've been around for thousands of years. I don't need to listen to you." Yeah, but yeah, I mean, I noticed that. it was interesting because I think a lot of people have preconceptions of bad guys,
Right.
and you're taking the bad guy stereotype and saying, listen, it's kind of almost like I hate to bring this in, but it's like the play Wicked.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that your thing is like Wicked.
Well,
I'm just saying.
Not saying when I said I've never seen the play.
Wicked being that they take the idea that the Wicked Witch is the good guy,
Right.
And that's pretty much what you're doing with this is saying, hey, these stories have different sides to them.
Well, like
we're only getting one side. And this is
as like
another
a
side
storyteller, like people always say, like, well, the best bad guys are the ones that don't think they're bad. They just think they're right.
Yeah.
So it's like kind of playing like with that idea, but because God curses Kane to like walk the earth, and
Which his design is awesome, by the way.
Oh, thanks.
You make him as like the marked one.
Yeah.
He's got these badass
after
tattoos all over him
after
and
he
everything.
gets cursed, I want him. He got like prison tats. Like the
Yeah.
idea was like he has prison tats all over him, and so in this story, when he says that Kane's got to walk the earth, he means like forever.
Right.
And he like never gets to die.
He doesn't get to die. That's all he wants is to die.
And so like you skip ahead a couple chapters and he's like he gets the axe, like he's in he's in the Crusades and he gets done in.
Yep.
And he's like, finally, like I just get to fucking
And
die.
he's alive.
Yeah. And what happens is he just like decays, and so he like turned for the rest of the book. He's like. In my brain, he's like this Harryhausen skeleton.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I did.
Like chipping away. Like,
I was thinking, I'm like,
dude,
is
that's
that's
amazing.
because he has like the suit
Perfect.
and shit, all that on.
That's perfect.
So it's like, God fucked me again,
But I get to like hit like a lot of like cool stuff. Like, if you guys ever saw the like, there's a lot to be said in like the conspiracy world about like the all-seeing eye and the triangle and all this stuff. So. The first time that I saw, I think it was like a Voyager probe or something, like flew past Saturn and you got to see the South Pole of Saturn, and it looks like a perfect hexagram, like just staring down. So I was able to like snatch that.
That's awesome.
Yeah, because I noticed like you made God kind of like this Saturn-looking thing with the
Yeah,
hexagram on
that's
the bottom.
really cool.
Yeah,
I was like,
so-
that's his eye.
Yeah, so
looking down at
basically,
you.
like that's like I got to work in like Saturn death cult like mythology into it, and like the Tower of Babel. And like the flood, like everyone nowadays is like hip to the story of like the Nephilim and the angels that came down to like make sweet love to the Earth ladies. It's always about.
I
the
did
Earth
not
girls.
know any of that stuff.
Yeah.
All I noticed in your Tower of Babel chapter was you like drew giant titties.
Yeah, they're big titties.
Like
right.
giant titties compared to people.
That was my favorite part.
Like it was a wall of just a giant tit. And I'm just like,
titty.
okay,
Well,
I could buy that.
And did you know that's a biological imperative for
Giant
male
tits?
artists? Male artists will always tend to draw much rounder female figures, even if they lack like actual like physics. It's like a biological imperative.
We don't need
it's
physics.
like
I don't know
goes back to like
what you're
lizard
talking
brain.
Yeah, just flip through a comic book, like a comic book
That's
story.
pretty much
Yeah.
all.
We don't need logic. We just need titties.
Titties. Yep.
So I was able to hit like a lot of fun stuff from like the Old Testament, and like the Tower of Babel is like my parable to like the debt control, like the debt slavery system we're kind of in. Like they get like 3 coins a day. They have to figure out whether they want to eat, or they want to go to the whorehouse, or they want to go to the church. And
Only
it's
you
like,
could eat and go to the whorehouse at the same time. Maybe if they had the food at the horse. Oh my God, strip clubs.
right? Yeah.
That's it. Buffets. There you go.
If
You
could
just
eat
invented
out,
Vegas.
You could
Just
eat out
invented
at the
Vegas.
whorehouse, though.
Oh, yeah, that's a
You
thing you
did.
said.
You did. You
Damn
did
it,
say
John.
So I was able just to play with a lot of that stuff, and a lot of the things that I like to do is there was in the beginning of the book there are 2 suns. There's like the black sun and like the white sun.
Yeah.
And like the serpent on the tree, and I equate that with like money. Like our symbol for like money is like the serpent on a tree, and like a swastika would be like a symbol for like the black sun,
Yep.
and this kind of, and there's like shit like that like throughout the whole book, and I don't really like explain it. It's just kind of like in the background, like just fun stuff like that.
Yeah. So I mean, the one thing I noticed, and you kind of alluded to this, is just the level of research and detail
It's
done in here. Not just in the actual drawings themselves, but just in the story. Like you have a lot of levels, and I know because I've known you for a couple of years now that amount of research you had to do for this must have been like staggering.
Yeah, it's like, it's like you wake up in the middle of the night and you're like, was that Genesis 5 or Genesis 7?
Yeah.
I gotta read it again, It's crazy, but because his whole battle, the whole theme is him battling against the tyrant, like the last chapter is basically him founding America, like him coming here, and it's like, this is like the last bastion, like this is the one place where there theoretically are no tyrants because the people are in charge. And then like he even like acknowledges how that gets fucked up by by like the founders or whatever.
Right.
So so there's like a lot of stuff. It's called The Ages, and it's it has like, there's like astrology stuff in there, and it's like it has to do with the way that the chapters are laid out. Actually has to do with the precession of the ages. So the way that the Earth wobbles and the way that the constellations go across our equator tells a story that's echoed in myth, like in the Bible, like in the age of Pisces, which is when Jesus was alive. And he's like telling the people like, well, in the age of Aquarius is the next age that's coming up. So, you have to go into the town and you have to find the guy with the bucket of water and you have to follow him.
Right.
There's just little things like that throughout the whole Bible and other like myths and stories.
So like, what did you looked at the Gnostic Gospels for research?
Yeah.
And then just the regular Bible? Or what else did you look at?
Bible and like this precession of the ages, it took me a long time to wrap my head around because, I'm not like an astrologer, so my wife has this big gigantic telescope, so I'm setting it up and I'm like trying to wrap my head around like, well, why do they go backwards and all this kind of stuff. So, a lot of like ancient prehistory, like reading a lot of like Graham Hancock and stuff like that, and just like as much weird like shit that
it's
I
kind of like
cram
out there, conspiracy theory, along with just like alternative history, that sort of stuff, secret society stuff. That's very interesting.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate it.
Very interesting. So, how long have you been a comic book artist?
Well,
quintessential interview question.
Well, my grandma a couple of years ago, she sent me a bunch of papers that she found that I did like when I was like 5 and 7 years old, and one of them is I tried to adapt Herman Melville into a comic book. Like it was like Moby Dick, not the book.
Whoa.
I was like obsessed with the Gregory Peck movie.
Okay.
Moby Dick. And so it's like you see like the one shot where you just see the whale's eye. I have like 3 pages of just this fucking eye that I drew out as a comic book. So I think that I kind of always done it. But I've been published since 2003.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Nice.
Your artistry reminds me a lot of Robert Kirkman in The Walking Dead graphic novels.
Yeah,
not just the black and white. It had
style.
very similar looks. It's very beautiful artwork, and you can clearly tell the story through the images as you go. How much of that is hand drawn, and then how much do you do in post?
It's all hand drawn, like
everything.
Yeah, like
okay.
I'll make the like where the frames are, like the gutters and the lines between the frames. I'll do that in Photoshop. But yeah, it's all like hand drawn. I do non-photo blue pencil over first, and then just like attack with like micron pens and fucking Sharpie markers and whatever I can get my hands on.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a different type of comic book style.
Yeah,
than
cool.
I guess you would say it's kind of quote unquote mainstream.
Yeah,
it's very raw.
Well, there's
and
a lot of
visceral.
Yeah, like it's funny that before we start recording, we were talking about the Ninja Turtles, and it's like those old Laird and Eastman.
Yes,
I take some of my style is from that, and like a lot of especially older Frank Miller.
Yeah,
and
sure.
This guy, he did when I was growing up, my old man collected X-Men comics, and so like in the New Mutants, every once in a while there was a guy called Bill Sienkiewicz who would be like one of the artists, and like a lot like my style is from him, and the guy who does the artwork for League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Yeah,
I jacked a lot of his shit. Like I just try to. I don't want to focus on like having like one person influence me so much as just like a kind of like pantheon, like a spinner,
right.
kind of like trying to get
it's basically you're trying to create your own style.
Right.
And to do that, you have to pull from other influences, not just one.
Yeah, it's like,
it's like you take in from everything.
Well, like when you first start writing, you know, a lot of it is just you mimicking the people that you like. Like when I first started writing, I was like I was all like Hunter Thompson-ish, like Chuck Palahniuk and that kind of stuff. So, and then like that eventually washes out and you find your own style. But those artists definitely influenced my style.
So, do you have anything coming up after The Ages?
Yeah,
you're working on.
Yeah, like when I publish my graphic novels, I try to publish a graphic novel and then like 2 comic books to like kind of support them. So I have one. They're both coming out next month. Yeah. One is called The Non-Standard Squad, 1944, and it's a little adventure of Cyrus the Dead Guy, who's a little skeleton. And like a couple of my other characters in World War II dealing with a Nazi wizard. Oh God! Who has like an
you have my full attention.
He's got an art. Well, one of the characters in there is his name's Sergeant McCord, and he's a warbot. He's like a warbot, like a state of the art like soldier robot. And so this guy's like enlisted an army of gremlins basically to like take this fucking robot apart. So they're like attacking him with all these wrenches and stuff. So that's like the fun one. And then I have one called Vienna 1683.
Okay.
Which is, it's actually a true story that I just threw I threw Cyrus the Dead Guy into that, and it's the story of the second siege of Vienna, where the Ottoman Empire in 1683 surrounded Vienna, and they were going to take it as a way to like push further into Europe, and they surrounded it, and the siege lasted for like 28 days, and they were like, this guy who was like in charge of the city, his name was Count Ernesto Stromberg, and he was like this Lando Calrissian kind of guy. And they would send these emissaries up to him and be like, look, you guys don't even have to convert, you know, we'll just tax you and you can just let us have the city and everyone could still be alive. And he just kept telling them to go fuck themselves, you know, like you're not going to get the city. And while all this was going on, unbeknownst to him, the King of Poland, Jan Sobieski III, rode this huge army of horses up, and they took advantage of a weak spot where they set up on the Eastern Highlands overlooking the city, and he amassed this huge cavalry line. And these guys, he had these soldiers called the Flying Hussars. What the fuck? Listen, these guys were on these armored horses, and they were armored up, and they built fake wings into their armor.
Holy shit.
And they did the largest cavalry charge in the history of the world, still standing today.
Wow.
And they went down, and they broke the line, they saved the city, they destroyed the whole army. That's, most historians say that's when the Ottoman Empire started to break. Like, they're the reasons that we don't, like, speak Pashtun in the West or something.
Wow. Very cool.
Well, I definitely want to check out that story on Gremlins. And speaking of Gremlins, we have an episode dedicated today of some of our favorite Christmas specials and films.
We figured, last week we did top 3 Christmas horror movies.
Right.
You know, with our awesome picks, if you haven't checked them out already, of Black Christmas, Silent Night, Deadly Night, and Elves.
They're not working for Santa anymore.
So this time we thought, let's go to traditionally Christmas movies.
Why not?
Kind of. I mean, my picks are not traditional Christmas.
Let's get nice and saccharine.
Yeah.
Cool.
Sugary.
So we're doing like movies and specials both? Because I mean,
I picked 3.
What
You picked
constitutes
3.
a Christmas movie?
Well, that's
like,
the thing.
What's
It could be
the
anything.
criteria?
I feel like
It
that's
had to
very
come out in
broad.
theaters, I feel.
Yeah, it had to come out in theaters.
Okay.
And then like a special has to be something that's like on TV every year. I think.
So I mean, we'll give the honors to you.
Well,
not to put you on the spot here.
it's okay.
But you're the guest, so
I used to say that Die Hard was my favorite Christmas
you
movie.
know, I've heard a
It's a great
lot of
Christmas
people
movie.
saying Die Hard.
Yeah, but now it's like everybody fucking says
It's
that.
true.
So I'm like kind of hipster about it, and I'm like, well, my
you're like,
favorite,
well, fuck you guys. I'm not being Die Hard.
my favorite Christmas movie is Die Hard 2. You know?
Yeah, also
There you
a
go.
Christmas. Also a Christmas.
And of course, that has Dennis Franz in it doing every stereotypical angry cop thing before it was a stereotype.
Yeah. That's
true.
He kind of started on it.
It
You're out
sounds
of control,
terrible.
McLean.
It's like before his NYPD Blue days or something.
Right?
He's like, let me tell you something. I hate that McLean. Oh, wow, that guy's perfect. Let's make him NYPD Blue.
True.
That's
So
what we're looking for.
that's a
So
good pick.
That's a good pick.
That's a good one.
I feel that it has to incorporate a miracle, like some kind of Christmas miracle.
Oh, I like that element. I kind of like that element.
I guess so. I mean, my pick, and I picked 3, but I'm gonna give just the first one.
Oh well,
here.
I also have Home Alone 2 and Christmas Story 2. I went with the deuce,
Christmas
deuce,
Story
deuce.
2.
Home Alone 2. Tell me more. Tell me why 2 and not 1.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
because
fascinated
I had
by
a
this.
theme for the sequels.
Oh, I see. Okay, so you went hard
Okay.
with
Isn't it
sequels.
funny, like how much Die Hard?
Christmas Story 2.
Isn't it funny how much Die Hard and Home Alone are kind of like the same kind of movie?
Except no
Like,
one
there's always,
dies in one of
there's
them.
always like movie. It's like one guy, and they have to rely on booby traps.
The difference is one is adorable, the other is like, oh my god, he seriously is hanging that
No,
guy.
one's adorable and the other's Macaulay Culkin.
Oh, there you
Well,
go.
the best thing about Home Alone 2 is he's a straight out sociopath in the second one.
Oh yeah,
And
he's just like, I'm gonna fuck you
in
shit
the
up.
in the first movie, he's justified because they're breaking into his home, and he is the only
He's
one who can
defending his
defend it.
castle.
In the second one, he lures them into a house of death.
It's
true.
He
true.
makes sure that they follow him to this abandoned house so that he can torture them in horribly violent sociopathic ways as long as he can. He could have gotten away.
Have you guys seen those videos where they like add up all the times that the robbers would have died? Like all the shit.
Oh,
that,
yeah,
I
that,
think the minute
that Kevin
the
did to them.
minute that Daniel Stern turns into a skeleton, it's just like I always lose my shit during that.
It's so good. But like, when he's like throwing the bricks and shit on them, like murder.
That's
like,
the one that I remember is when he had like the cinder block on the rope
Yeah.
and just throws it down the stairs.
it would crack your skull down. I mean, you would die. Like
They
nothing more
must be
Christmas
those
Eve than that.
Harry and Marv must be mutants.
They're in the
Yeah,
Looney Tune
it's true.
verse.
the Looney
It's
Tunes.
true.
Yeah.
The first
True.
one, you can almost justify away most of the violence. Like, okay, you got a nail in the foot, that would hurt. Like,
That would really
but
suck, but-
maybe you wouldn't die. You know, they're slipping on some race cars. Like, you might slip a disc or something, but you'll be okay.
well, I
and the
think
second one,
the
he's
blowtorch in the
blowing
first-
up their heads. He has a toilet full of gasoline.
No, there's a blowtorch in the
There's a
first one.
blowtorch in the
Explain
first one.
blowtorch then.
Okay, well, the thing is, if he had like a normal person jump down, oh fuck, like within 2 seconds, he would have had some burns, but he would have been okay. According to, like they said, by how long he stayed in there, it would have ate through his skull and started to burn his brain because he stands there for like 7 seconds,
It's a great
true.
comedic
taking in the
timing.
heat. Yeah.
he's just like ah! He's just screaming like that. Like, I don't know.
You
He's
would
going
know.
in
You
shock.
would move immediately.
You'd be like, ow.
Every atom in your brain would be screaming at you to move. Every
Oh,
single
God.
like makeup of you.
Yeah, he whips bricks at people, he blows them up, he electrocutes them. The second movie is kind of
he's
depraved.
a spicy little bastard.
And then he grows up, and he gets a job at torturing people.
I
He
thought
turns
that-
into Jigsaw.
I thought that special was hilarious. I thought that was really funny. It was like a nice way to
play a
revisit the
game?
character and kind of
Hey,
like
Marv.
poke fun at the same time, you know?
Well, the nice thing in the first one is they're going to be like, yeah, we're going to torture you the way you tortured us. And it's kind of implied that they're going to, like, you know, really hurt him or kill him. And the second one, he's just like, shoot him in the face, Harry. I can't get my gun to work. I really want to shoot this kid in the fucking face.
And he really wants to kill him. Like,
That
he's like trying to get the thing to work.
Well, they just fell about 9 stories down a burning rope onto concrete and had paint cans hit them in the face. I want to get a
cranky.
little bugger
And
too.
kerosene.
I'd
Can't
be
forget the
cranky
kerosene.
too. So John, tell us more about Christmas Story 2.
Yeah,
'cause
why
I've
did you
never
pick
seen
that
the
one?
sequel.
I've seen it.
Christmas Story 2 ironically connects to Home Alone 2 because Daniel Stern plays the dad.
What?
No.
way.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
So what's
That's
the
cool.
plot to Christmas Story? I've never
I don't
seen
even
it.
recall what the plot is.
It's just Christmassy.
It's just Christmassy.
It's one of those Ralphie has to get a job.
He's got to get a car or something.
Yeah, to impress
He's
a
older,
bitch.
right?
Yeah.
to impress a bitch.
That's the reason we all get cars.
That's true. It's true.
Eyes rolling so hard they're rolling out of my head.
Yeah.
Yeah, nobody from the original movie. I think what was it made 23 years
It
after
was
the first
what?
one came out?
Maybe like
I didn't want to say it was even probably like straight
5
to
years
video.
ago or something?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, it was. That was. I think that might have been the first attempt at nostalgia fuckery there in
maybe.
modern times.
Close, maybe, yeah.
Close. I think if have you heard of our nostalgia fuckery episode?
Well, no, but I mean it's pretty self-explanatory.
Well, but no,
I think.
but basically, that's the idea is that they prey on your nostalgia and fuck it.
Give us your money, assholes.
Give us your money.
It's like current Hollywood.
Yeah,
Yep.
pretty much it.
Very true.
They made a follow-up film to Christmas Story, from another Gene Shepherd story, but it takes place at summertime, and they're probably like, well, that's not as easy enough to cash in on.
Our summer story, is that what it's called?
My
Something
Summer
like
Story,
that.
yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same universe though.
It came out 6 or 7 years after the first.
And even
one, I
that was a
believe,
little
I think
too
that
far.
I think that had Charles Groban in it.
Okay. That's
You know.
cool. That's cool. So, Brian, what are your picks?
Okay, well, my first pick is one. I picked ones that I thought were, one's a classic, and two are kind of like they're oddballs because
You going Fringe on us again, yo?
Fringe?
Yeah.
No,
your
no,
favorite.
that was Halloween.
Okay.
No, that was a different story. No, the first one I picked is Scrooged.
Yeah. That would be so funny.
Love Scrooged.
Yes.
That's my absolute favorite. Christmas Carol.
Do you guys ever notice that people are not halfway about Scrooge? They
either love it or hate
they
it.
hate it.
Well, would you love that movie if Bill Murray wasn't in it? If it was anybody else?
Probably not.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah.
He's
That's Bill
perfection.
Murray at his prime.
It's also
perfection.
Bobcat Goldthwait's finest moment.
That is no, you're absolutely correct.
It's
He's like, Frankie gets
that was a good Bobcat,
I didn't know you had a Bobcat impersonation.
I can pull it out. I can pull it out every once in a while.
Very nice.
But
Excellent.
my wife left me.
Excellent. Okay, so Scrooge.
It
tell
sounded
me
like
more.
Louis Armstrong slightly with the throat infection too.
So yeah, I love Scrooge because
That's a good one.
it takes the classic Christmas Carol and just amps the shit out of it.
Totally.
It has that 90s cynicism approach to
It's not even
our
90s.
classics.
That's late 80s.
It's 80s. That's not
let me
bad.
look
It's
this up.
late
Yeah.
80s.
It's that was like I think 88 or 89.
I think it's
And
88.
Carol Kane was
Oh,
Carol
awesome.
Kane is
She's
brilliant.
hilarious
she
in it.
kills me in that.
88.
Yeah.
Right.
You also have
Suck it.
what
Late 80s, early 90s cynicism there.
What the hell is his name? Buster Poindexter in it.
yeah.
That was at his peak with Hot.
It's a classic.
It's a 80s time
Modern
capsule. So
classic.
I remember watching that with my mom and my
Whether
two
you
brothers.
just pulled out a one-hit wonder from the 80s there.
On
Buster Poindexter?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Buster Poindexter.
Hey.
Come on. No one knows his name, but once you see his face,
Yeah.
he's got one of
You're
those
like,
faces.
Was it Buster Poindexter or David Johansen?
Both.
Both.
He was both names.
Okay. All right.
Oh,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, he went by both names. In the 80s, he was Buster Poindexter.
Okay.
In the 70s, he was David Johansen.
David Johansen.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Did he get busted for kitty porn, or was that Gary Glitter?
I think it was Gary.
I would
All right.
go just judging by the name.
Yeah, right. I know which one I'm voting on.
So I love that movie because of the 80s time capsule that it is. But you can watch it and be like, oh yeah, well look at the shoulder pads and the giant glasses and just the pure 80s schlots all over it.
Right.
But it's just such a great story too, and it does kind of have that miracle thing at the end of it. As much as there is as much dark comedy in it, it does have a nice Christmassy warm feeling.
Yeah.
to it.
It's true.
I remember how terrifying the Grim Reaper was.
Oh my god, that is the scariest fucking Grim
It is.
Reaper ever.
It's like the TV face.
Oh yeah, 'cause I imagine that is probably what the Grim Reaper looks like. He's like, I'm gonna high def this shit,
Yes, that was awesome.
But I love the fact he's like, so do we do this? And he opens it up, and it's like the little
The tortured
demons
souls
going, He's like, oh, our people do that. So yeah, Scrooge is on there. I also have the first Christmas Story
yeah,
for obvious reasons. I mean, that's a
Yeah.
classic.
John and I go to the house every year where it
You
was shot.
you were just there.
Yeah, we just were
Weren't
there.
you?
We just got back. It was so fucking cold.
I imagine so.
And it was so busy because we went on a Saturday. Note to self, just call in dead to work. on
I
a
saw
Tuesday
your
and go.
pictures that you had posted on Facebook, and there were crowds.
Oh, it was really
people there.
busy. Well, I mean,
Yeah, when we first started to go, it was you could get right in. If
Yeah,
there
and
was
they
a
had
tour time.
tours.
Now
They
there's
would
lines
do-
of people.
they would
waiting,
do guided tours with all kinds of information and stuff. And now it's kind of a shame. I understand why they had to change the format, but they did change to an app. And I feel like they should redo the videos a little bit. If they wanted to hire us to redo
They
the videos,
changed
that'd
what
be
to an
great.
app?
Like the tour,
The actual
there
tour
just isn't
itself?
enough time for them to take you through the house, especially when they're busy. But I think the videos, if they were more like what the tour used to be, because I mean, just in the first few years, like John and I have been going for like 8 years now, for like ever. And the staff, when we first started going, was just like the most top-notch humans like you ever find. Like, not to be like too funny, but the staff at Trader Joe's, you know how they're all just like glittering unicorns of human beings? Like,
yes,
that was like these people. Like, they loved the house, they loved their jobs, like they were so sweet.
Trader Joe's is a grocery store in Pennsylvania. For anybody that's outside.
They're a national chain, bro.
Are they a national chain?
Yeah, they're a national chain.
I thought they were like
they're a
Giant
national
Eagle.
chain.
My bad.
Now, our friends in like Germany and Australia might not be super familiar, but they're owned by the same company that owns Aldi's.
We do have fans in Germany.
I know. We're
and
kind
France.
of a big deal. Anyway.
Some Frenchies.
Anyway, but the staff there was super, super nice.
And they're not cheese-eating surrender monkeys. They're good people.
And I wish...
Cheesy surrender monkey.
Sometimes I just want to kick you in the crotch.
But the staff
We just
was
lost
really,
our one French fan. Sorry, go ahead.
You with the fucking interrupting.
What do you mean?
But the staff was really great, so I think that they would do well to kind of go back to that and maybe redo the videos a little bit. But there's a museum right there. It has all kinds of cool memorabilia, and then there's like a giant gift store.
Oh yeah. Can you buy the Red Ryder BB gun?
You sure can. There you have a whole wall of them there.
So that's the thing on it that says you don't shoot your eye out.
No, it's like totally legit. It doesn't. It's not like a joke. It's like pretty authentic, and it's like $80.
Yeah, because for clarification, they shot a lot of the exteriors in Cleveland, Ohio.
Okay.
So whenever Ralphie's running out of his house or when they're walking into the house, that's where they shot it. Now the interiors obviously need a little larger of a space. They shot those in Canada. So any interiors of the house, were shot on a soundstage.
Yeah, that was all soundstage.
Was it Ontario?
St. Catharines, I think.
Okay.
Which isn't far from Niagara Falls. But what they did was, when the guy who realized what the house was when he originally bought it, he redid it based on all of the photos.
So
and
he made
all
it
the
look
floor
like
plans he could.
that.
But in the movie, it's kind of like a pass through where the stairs are in the middle, and you can go the whole way around the first floor. The actual house isn't built like that. It used to be a duplex, and so the only way they could do it was to just make it on one wall. Now it is just one building; it's a single house, but they could only put the stairs to the side, and so there isn't a pass through in the actual house. But that's not exactly where they filmed either. So
cool.
But the reason why they chose Cleveland for that was because the department store in town was the only one that would let them do that big scene with the slide and Santa and stuff. And the name of it escapes me right now.
Higbee's.
Higbee's.
Was it Higbee's?
That's the name of the. Okay. That was the name in the movie, right?
Yeah.
I can't remember the real name of the department store. It's escaping me.
Terrifying Santa Claus.
But but that was the only place that would do it. And not only did the owner of this department store actually let them come in when no other places would, they let them set up all the decorations early because they didn't shoot quite at Christmas time. All the snow in A Christmas Story is actually soap. It's not real snow.
That's a common thing, by the way.
Very common.
A lot of movies that give you the image of actually, doing it in winter. It's not. It's usually done in the summer, and they have to put stuff down to make it look like winter.
Exactly.
It's a Wonderful Life to use cornflakes.
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know that. That's cool.
Judge, Jimmy, you got to stop eating the flakes.
I heard they use potato,
potato flakes.
potatoes,
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, but
That
I guess
makes
for me,
sense.
the Christmas Story just kind of represents, just the holidays distilled down.
Well, the original dad was supposed to be Jack Nicholson, which I think would
Oh,
have been
seriously?
terrifying. It's like, if you want me to swear, then I'm gonna fucking swear. If it's a clinker, then I'm gonna run my mouth. It's a PG movie, Jack. You can't swear.
I could see Jack Nicholson just going, "Yeah, that's a fucking leg lamp."
Oh boy,
I'm gonna go ahead and take this. Yeah, you've been like, "I'm gonna take this leg lamp,
bitch. I'm gonna go upstairs and fuck it."
Jack,
do you know what movie you're doing?
Well, here's the thing that was '80s Jack Nicholson, so you're getting him fresh off of
Shining.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's fresh off of Shining, which that led to the Joker as well as Witches of Eastwick, and just crazy Jack Nicholson.
Axe wielding Nicholson, Satan Nicholson.
Yeah, Satan Nicholson. So
and wholesome pre-World War II dad,
Yeah, totally fine.
I can see
just
it.
a note, it was Higbee's in the movie and in real life.
Okay.
That's what I thought. I didn't know.
I wasn't sure.
But interesting note on that one, just to finish up.
Yeah.
I kind of thought to myself, when does this movie take place? And the whole idea of him wanting that BB gun, wanting to have a gun as, the metaphorical toy, I thought was very fascinating because I believe the movie should take place in the Christmas of 1940. And then the Christmas that would take place the following year would have been shortly after Pearl Harbor, where the gun, which was at the time a representation of innocence, takes on a whole new idea of, the meaning behind having a piece of weaponry like that as the world just completely changed. It was the last Christmas for Ralphie and for the country of innocence, and that gun represented something a whole lot different the following year.
That's an interesting take on it. I would say that would be
sometimes John thinks about stuff.
He does.
You would never know.
You see, every once in a while, the intellectual graduate, MFA John, he comes out. He has to climb through the misogynistic, funny as all hell, John. But every once in a while, he does pop his head. So
you said head.
I see. There we go. Now he's back down again.
He's back. Everybody.
So yeah. Just round that out. Christmas Story is my second pick. Cool. Third pick, not really much of a surprise. A Nightmare Before Christmas.
Okay. Oh, nice. Nice choice.
And thank God you were smart enough to say it's a Christmas movie, not a Halloween movie, because that's stupid.
It can be both.
It's not.
It's a Christmas movie. No, it's both.
It's only Halloween because of Hot Topic.
No.
It's kept Hot Topic in business
wrong.
for 20 years.
It's The Nightmare Before Christmas, not The Nightmare Before Halloween. It's a Christmas movie.
No, wrong.
Okay.
First of all, I believe that this is...
You are so very wrong.
You interrupted me now.
I know. I had to pass it forward.
Quit woman-splaining.
No, I feel that A Nightmare Before Christmas can function as both. And keep in mind, I got into this movie when it came out on VHS in 1993. Okay? And you know when it came out on VHS in 1993? October.
I was going to say 1993.
October, okay.
October of 1993. Right. So it is for me, I believe that it can be both. It can function for both.
John, Christmas movie or Halloween movie or both?
Oh, well, you put me in a bind. I think that if it was a Halloween
I'm not going to stare you down, but I will.
I think if it was a Halloween movie, it would come out before October.
It came out. Okay, first of all, it came out the first week of October.
Also, I don't know, because it's like it takes place in Halloween Town.
Yes.
So I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. It's a conundrum because it can function as both a Christmas movie and a Halloween movie.
I'll get a little meta and say, coming from Tim Burton, I'm going to side with you.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to say it could be both.
Okay. I just believe that it can function as both because, Halloween and Christmas, most popular perception is that they're complete polar opposites. Well, I would say that's kind of the idea. Unless we're talking about Krampus, and Krampus is, pretty much just like, I'm going to fuck your shit up.
Well, exactly. His involvement in Halloween Town is a catalyst for his character change towards Christmas, which is also what the title of the movie is. So it's his finding of Christmas when he lives in the polar opposite. So that's why it's a Christmas
movie.
This
isn't a slugfest, yo.
Is this a slugfest now?
Are we
turning this into a slugfest?
I'm not putting the belt on the line.
Slugfesting.
All right, no slugfest in here.
It's interesting, though, because I feel people do take a side, whether they think it's a Halloween movie or a Christmas movie.
They do. And
I
believe
watch it every year. I watch it every year to wrap my Christmas gifts, too. I'll wrap all my presents and watch that movie.
Is Silent Night, Deadly Night a Halloween movie?
No.
Are you a total douche?
I'm just saying.
You want to go there? No, because here's why. There is no element of Halloween other than the blood and gore and horror in that movie.
Ew.
Okay?
Is there
is a movie
anything
that's
involved with Halloween with The Exorcist?
No.
All right.
I don't consider The Exorcist a Halloween movie either.
I think what was good is that Brian picked it as a Christmas movie and we both ruined it. So let's move on.
You didn't ruin it. I'm just saying you're fucking wrong. So there you go. Okay. So those are my three. Three.
Your three
my
picks.
3 picks.
That's cool.
So what are your guys' picks?
Shall I?
Yeah, you go. I'm sure ours will be different.
Well, I obviously love Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer because when I was a kid, obviously I loved it for all the right reasons. Now I love it because it's batshit crazy.
Explain your reasoning on why it is batshit crazy.
Well, there is a horribly ostracized child that has a
deformity.
Yeah.
He has a deformity, and they ostracize him.
Who's kicked out by a horrible dictator who, you might know him as Santa Claus. And then he meets a gay elf, which is fine nowadays, who wants to be a dentist, and a weird alcoholic miner, and then they run into a giant abominable snowman only to escape on an island of rejected, mentally defective toys.
This sounds like a Halloween movie.
Yes, it does, doesn't it? It does.
It seriously does. Oh my God.
This is the basis of this. In the original story, it was done for a department store to try to lure people in at Christmas time, so they came up with a story that you could only buy in the store, called Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. Pretty simple. Rudolph was kind of picked on by the other reindeer. They didn't let him play reindeer games. He went to bed all pissed off, probably thinking of ways to map out, the place.
I mean, I was gonna say, like, nowadays, hate to say it, but Rudolph might just be like, you know what, I'm gonna go fuck your shit up. And nowadays, I think the reindeer would go on Facebook or Twitter and cyberbully him.
Ooh.
Herbie and Rudolph equal Eric Harris and Dylan Klebold? Is that what we're saying?
Herbie and
Oh
Rudolph.
my God, no, we're
okay.
not saying that.
And then he goes to bed and Santa's like, oh shit, it's foggy, and says, hey, can you help out? And he goes, yeah, I can. Like, hey, we like you. Very short, simple story. This one, they decide to put in giant, god-like lions and dentists and a bunch of
godlike
toys that have
dentist lions.
deformists. Yeah. Well, the dentist is not the elf is the dentist. I can't believe I'm saying this out loud. It sounds so stupid. But and it has the worst message in the world for kids too, which I always think is wonderful.
It's conform.
Yeah, well,
that's exactly what it is.
Or just
we only like you when we find a way to use you.
Yeah,
we don't
when we can
accept you for who
exploit
you
you.
are. Yeah, once we can exploit you, then we accept you. That is the message of the story.
And when his nose burns out, then it's like, we don't have any use for you. Or when that nose turns into a cancerous tumor and eats half of his face off,
Whoa.
then,
Donna, put him down. But he's my son, Santa. You heard me.
Oh my.
Did anyone think about that his red nose might be a tumor?
He might have a health issue that
I think
needs
that
to be
might be a
looked
health
into.
issue. It's like, come on.
No.
You've got a thing that's blinking red on your face.
Well, if there's no dentist, there's probably no doctors.
I was gonna say, do they have is it HMO up at the North Pole?
Maybe.
Hey, as Santa has proven that if you have any type of deformity or you're different, he casts you off to an island to live by yourself until you die cold and sad.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Well, the original they did it with test audiences, and Santa just leaves that island of those toys to die a horrible death.
He's
And
like,
the audience
I've
is
given
like,
you guys a good island. Ho, 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 ho.
no crops can grow here. The water's all salt water. No, but and then the test audience were like, this is really depressing. And they're like, all right, we'll do a little more stop motion where he gathers up the toys and throws them into chimneys, and kids are like, what the fuck?
You know what? All
It's
those
this
chimneys
purple
had
elephant with-
fire, by the way, going. So
jaundice.
those toys are dead.
Yeah.
That's true.
They're all fired. Yeah, that's it. That's exactly what it was.
Suck.
They all look
toys.
like a Marilyn Manson video, anyways.
Yeah.
Yeah, they do.
Popped out.
So how many pictures
Love me.
One.
Oh, we just got through one pick.
Okay, so that's your first one. All right, what else you got?
Obviously, The Grinch is a classic.
Now
and
we're not talking about the Jim Carrey.
God, no. No, that I don't even
Vomit.
know what you're talking about. That doesn't exist. Thanks a lot, Ron Howard, you asshole. Ginger asshole. Dirty ginger daywalker
No soul.
asshole.
No soul.
All right,
No
we're,
soul.
we're adding him to the wall. There you go. You started a fight with somebody.
Have you heard of
every episode.
our wall that we're putting
We have
our enemies list?
Oh, okay.
Okay, he's got an enemies list
John
because
picks
he's
a
picked
fight
he's
every
picked fights.
episode.
Go ahead and tell other John who's on the enemies list so far.
Let's see.
Burke Ramsey.
Burke Ramsey.
Ramsey.
Body by Jake. Nancy Grace.
I remember the Burke Ramsey thing.
Yeah, Body by
Tom
Jake
Cruise.
is also
Tom
on
Cruise,
there.
yeah,
Tom
he's on
Cruise
there.
is on there.
I shit
And
on
now-
Amy Schumer, even though I find her funny, but I shit on her anyways.
Yeah, that's your thing.
Yeah, and now we're putting
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard's
yeah.
on the list. All right.
Jesus
And
So
Christ.
anyway,
Grazer.
the
Yeah.
regular special is where you're at.
What
right?
works so well for this, is because it's such a faithful adaptation to the original source material. Unlike Rudolph, where they just went batshit crazy. And it follows the story. It's a very well paced, I think about 30-minute special. and it has a great message for kids, except the fact that I do have a problem that all the Who's are sanctimonious and
they really are
self-righteous
sanctimonious
and very
self-righteous
cult-like.
I think there's some inbreeding going on with the Who's down in Whoville.
But
they all have the same features,
and they all get the same toys
features
for Christmas. They're all just loud ass instruments. Like, how do they not drive each other crazy? That's what I want to know.
There's that one. Well, here's what happens. That one person who raises his voice and says, "Would you stop with your stupid Zuzulas or whatever the hell shit?" That becomes the Grinch. They ostracize him on the mountain,
and he mutates.
And turns into the Grinch.
And he gets a real cool voice.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's Boris Karloff, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, it's Boris Karloff.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Now, not the singing voice. I actually read an article on that not long ago.
Who was that?
It was someone else, and there was like a big thing because I guess he either was never credited or never paid or something like that, and everybody thinks it's Boris Karloff that did the singing voice as well, like, sang the songs and stuff. It's actually super hard to find on Spotify because of that reason.
No kidding.
Yeah, I fell down the rabbit hole of Wikipedia.
They used to do that shit all the time to people back in the day. Like, they did that to James Earl Jones with Star Wars.
Yeah.
You watch the first Star Wars and it's like, that's not David Prowse. I mean, he's a guy
Did you
in a
assume?
suit.
We've all heard his actual voice, and thank God they redid it.
Gone.
There's a documentary on Netflix.
Oh, yeah?
I Am Vader, or I'm Your Father, and it's all about David Prowse and him like
What? Oh my God!
Yeah, and him
calling
getting,
in dead to work tomorrow and watching it. That's awesome.
He has the worst voice ever. Like, it doesn't match.
You're part of a rebel alliance and attack.
Bless his heart.
And like, they did this also with Ghostbusters 2 with Vigo. Did you ever hear the real Vigo?
Well, he could barely speak English, couldn't
It
he?
was like, he had like a Brooklyn accent. He was like, "I Vigo, the sons of Carpathia."
I really thought they went to like deep Eastern Europe.
No.
to find that guy.
no, that guy. He was some guy, I guess, from Brook. He has a Brooklyn accent.
He's
like,
just some
honestly.
guy's doorman, and they were
Yeah.
like, "Hey man, you want to get?"
And then they got like Max von Sydow to do the voice of it. But yeah, if you ever find like, there's behind the scenes footage on YouTube of them shooting Ghostbusters 2, and you see his like voice, he's like, "I am Vigo, the son of Carpathia, the ball of Moldavia, command you." And it's like,
That's where they got Peter Nichol to do all the talking for him.
"Command me, Lord." Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, but voices are so important to that kind of thing. And so I
Yes.
think that's why Boris Karloff is so important to something like The Grinch. And for me, like, The Grinch is sort of like my journey through December. Like, because usually when December starts, I'm just fucking hateful and everything is on my nerves. But then the closer the Christmas comes, I'm like, oh, like,
Also,
okay,
you get like
everything's okay.
you get some days off, and that's when you're like,
Exactly.
I don't have to go into work today.
I don't have to do things.
It's much better to get Boris Karloff than a denier of giving your child inoculations like Jim Carrey.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's the thing.
You broke my heart,
thing.
Jim. You broke my heart.
All right.
Well,
Pick
think about how
number 3.
different of a world would have been if like Bela Lugosi did the voice of the Grinch.
That would have been incredible.
You would have been like,
I do not care for those
I
heads.
do not care for that fucking Karloff. I can do the Grinch.
Do not give two shits for Bella.
That's awesome.
Grinch.
And then he has a heart arrhythmia and then brings all the shit back. And and they're like, yeah, you know what?
Yeah, like pops
First
out
off,
of his
they're
gut.
perfectly fine with not having anything. Like, everything is stolen from them. And they're like, fuck it, it's Christmas. We'll worry about it on the 26th.
That's when you just go to Amazon. You just start selling that shit.
Yeah.
The
the
Grinch could have
Christmas
made some
spirit.
money.
And then, then he brings all the stuff back and they're like, yeah, fine, whatever.
You're like, eh.
We'll want to come to dinner, asshole? You know?
It's like, hey, come to
pretty
dinner.
big of them
You know,
to
it's
invite
very
him to
big of them
dinner.
instead of being like, hey, thanks for stealing all of our shit.
Here's the police.
Here's some food. Because you imagine after that, they were like, okay, you ate your roast beast. Okay.
That's
now we're
sack
gonna-
meat now. That was in a big sack with all kinds of other shit. Probably
sack
fiberglass and ornaments on it. Shit, you know?
Sack meat.
That's actually a Who delicacy. How
Ooh,
dare you
sack
mock
meat.
their culture?
Do not mock their culture.
And my final one is the best Christmas special of all time. We Wish You a Turtles Christmas.
Oh, for God's
Okay.
sake.
No, I've never seen We Wish You a Turtles.
Is it Ninja Turtles?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never seen this.
Right at the tail end, around 94, I believe, when all like the turtles, had kind of fizzled out. The third movie.
So this is
bombed.
after Turtles in Time, right?
Well, technically, that movie's not called Turtles in Time. That was never actually the
Turtles
tagline.
3 is not called Turtles in Time?
It's just called Turtles 3. Yeah, the Turtles in Time was actually the video game.
Oh, okay.
Over time, we've kind of combined the two.
Yeah.
But it was never called Turtles in Time. Interesting fact.
Nerd.
You're a fucking nerd.
And no one likes me. All right. Anyway, what is the date on it? Do you have it there?
Yeah, 94.
94. Okay.
So is that to support the short-lived TV show where they had the animatronic TV show?
I believe that was 96.
Yeah, the
Okay.
animatronic. Yeah, it was 96 with
It
like
was
big,
just
big
it was a
bad
quick
billboards and
cash
all
in,
that shit. Yeah.
and they used the same turtles from the Coming Out of Our Shells tour. And the great thing about them is they have
Holy shit!
bug eyes.
We just saw an image of it.
I just passed around an image. Kill them with fire.
They look like they're all on ecstasy.
Yeah.
or just like meth.
They have giant bug eyes, and the mouths don't move. So they try to like pantomime, like they're talking, but the mouths don't move and the eyes don't move. It's just this god awful, like what you would see in like The Exorcism of Emily Rose, just like one of those screaming faces with the bug eyes and the open mouths.
Oh god!
It has some of the most upsetting songs you'll ever hear in a movie.
Like can you give me
raps, like do the
give me a
rap rap,
demonstrate?
do the rap rap.
the rat rap?
And then they changed the words to the 12 Days of Christmas.
Oh no!
5 video games, 4 comic books, 3.
We always forget what 3 is.
And a pizza with pepperoni.
Oh boy.
They
Oh,
sang that
God.
song. And it's all Splinter singing what the turtles got him for Christmas.
That sounds awful.
It's awful. You cannot watch it sober.
Yeah.
I was gonna
You
be like,
cannot
where
be sober.
where is Splinter able to afford all of this shit?
Well,
The
Splinter
turtles
finds
are
it
buying
in a-
it for them, and they're teenage. Like, come on. Like, what? He must give them, like, baller allowance.
Well, and Splinter looks like if you killed a raccoon and kept them in a cool bathtub for 6 months and covering him in olive oil every couple of hours.
Oh god!
That's like the most appalling thing John could have possibly said, but like you guys don't know how accurate
It's
that is.
actually
Like
pretty
it's
true.
actually true.
They
It's
made
really
this on the
bad.
budget of about $7, and the whole thing is they have to go out on Christmas Eve because none of them got any gifts for Splinter, so they end up getting about 144 gifts. Like,
So they're a bunch of ungrateful ingrates that don't get anything for their
Well, they just
parents?
didn't know about Christmas. They're turtles.
But they know about Christmas, right?
they opened the movie with them decorating the shit out of the sewer.
Yeah, so they got no excuse.
Yeah.
They're a bunch of
Yeah,
ingrates.
so they get them like 144 gifts, because if you go by the song, like 12, 11, somewhere around there. Somebody will do the actual math because I'm just throwing that out.
Again, where do they get the money for this? They live in a fucking sewer.
Right?
Well, some of it
They
is
save on
manhole
rent.
covers, and but yeah, some of it's video games and comic books. Like this shit ain't cheap.
Maybe that's what 3 is. 3 manhole covers.
Maybe.
Maybe.
Well, because
They give manhole covers?
Yep.
So somewhere there's people falling into the fucking sewer,
say.
breaking bones.
Yeah.
That's not Christmassy at all.
Well, the movie ends with a bunch of like slightly
What the
drugged,
shit?
confused children. They probably are the ones that fell into the sewer.
Oh. Yeah, like I said, you cannot do it sober. It's impossible. You need so much beer to
God.
make it happen.
It's only about an hour, but it feels
It
like
feels
a Ken
longer.
Burns
It
documentary.
feels way longer. You need like several.
Wow. So was this movie the death nail in Turtles?
I mean,
Would you
before
say
Michael
that?
Bay exhumed them.
I mean, I would say
like.
like as you did have as we mentioned, the animatronic TV show that was on.
Where they had the female turtle.
They had a female turtle.
Venus.
turtle
She had,
as well.
she had titties.
Oh yeah, she had titties.
Yeah.
No joke, turtle titties.
To titties,
But
if you will.
But of course, none of the turtles wanted to fuck her because for some strange reason, the turtles wanted to fuck a human being. They all were into April, which
But
is
you met
really
April.
upsetting.
We
Yeah. You met April
we
recently.
totally met Judith Hogue. You guys, she was so nice.
The OG April
She
O'Neil,
was
the 1990 movie.
She
film.
was the nicest, like not only like celebrity, just like the nicest person. She asked us all kinds of questions about us and answered all of our questions that we had. She was just so sweet, like, and you could tell her. They always have like the handler at the cons and stuff.
She had a handler.
Not like a
they take the
nobody
money,
intense, but like someone who takes like the money, and you know what I mean. It was just like it was a woman that was with her and everything, but you could tell the girl like kept looking at her watch and everything because she spent like 15 minutes with us. It was awesome. Oh my god, she was so cool.
And she was still hot.
Yeah, to us. Thanks, Brian. Thanks for like ruining it.
It's definitely.
I didn't have to ruin it. I got to the point.
No, she was wonderful though.
I know a guy who met her over the weekend, and he said he talked to her for like a half an hour about their record collections.
Yeah, she just she
Wow.
would like just
Yeah, and
talk
he was
to
like,
people.
I have something that she needs, so I got her address. Like he's gonna fucking like send her vinyl that she needs.
I bet he's got something she
Yeah,
needs.
I bet. Yeah.
But she seriously, she seemed so interested in other people, and I feel like even if she wasn't an actress,
she's a
just
reporter.
one of those.
Who? What? Where? When?
She was just one of those kind of people. I feel like she just must make friends wherever she goes because she's just so open and just so cool.
Dude, that's so refreshing to see at conventions.
is, 'cause
Like
you-
we've been on the convention trail together before, and you're just like, you just sit there like people like. I remember the first Comic-Con I did. It was like in 2001 or 2002 at the old Monroeville one. I'm in the bathroom taking a leak, and it's like Sunday. I got like no business done. It's like my first book. No one knew who the fuck I was, and in hobbles George Romero, who was there. And it was he and his
You taking a leak next to George Romero?
yeah, he and his handler were there, and he's bitching about having to be there. And he was like, I wish I could I can't wait till it's 5 o'clock so I can just get the fuck out of here. And I'm like, you know what? George Romero has to stay here. He's contractually obligated to stay here. I'm not. So I picked up my shit and I left. But the thing is, like, you run into, like, those, like, celebrities and people that, like, are just...
Tom Savini.
They're just miserable.
Tom Savini. I make no bones about it. I don't think I've said anything on here
Not on the show
about
no,
my
but
Tom Savini issue.
Well, there goes having him on. That's a guess.
Oopsies.
Oopsie.
But anyway,
We'll add him to the enemies list, I guess.
No, I just
So
have
we've
one.
added Jim Carrey,
I just got one.
Brian Grazer.
yeah, no, Brian's wall.
Brian's
and then your
wall is only
will just
one.
Be so much longer.
Listen, my issues with Tom Savini. First of all, a lot of people have had the same problems that I have said. Okay, and it really comes down to the same sort of thing. He feels like he's doing a service by being there instead of just honoring the fact that the fans are paying to be there and get his shit.
Well, sometimes it gets worse. Can I like just go off script
Absolutely.
for a minute?
We don't have a script, so go ahead.
I'm just going to tell a Dave Fairhead / Tom Savini story real fast.
Okay.
We were at Horror Realm, which is a local horror convention in town, and Tom was there, but he wasn't there. He wasn't being paid to be there.
he just showed up.
He didn't have a booth.
I'll do
or
one of
anything.
those things, huh?
He just showed up with like a stack of flyers
For his vodka.
Yeah, he was shilling.
I think I was at that one.
He was shilling this vodka, so there's like every like 15 feet on the wall would be like this.
It's click vodka.
Like a poster for this, and it's like him with his like fucking sex machine dick gun and a fucking thing of vodka, and it's like my buddy that I was there with, Dave Fairhead, God rest your soul. I hope you listen to this because I tell this story all the fucking time. It's so funny. But Dave and Tom Savini had a real life beef with each other for some unknown reason.
Oh, they actually did.
Yeah, like it had to do with Savini's haunted house at one time, and Dave felt like he was like dissed or something. So Dave had it out for Tom Savini, which is the best sentence I've ever said.
Which is funny because Dave is not
I know
that type of person.
He's not confrontational at all.
He is like one of the most chillest dudes you'll ever meet.
So like
Very nice guy.
So we well, not all the time, but
Not all the time, but I mean he is from Long Island, so I mean there's that.
So it's Sunday and we're all packing up ready to go, and Dave gets this bag out and he like unzips it, and he's just been walking around collecting these fucking posters all weekend. He's got like a whole fucking bag of like these Tom Savini advertisements for his vodka. It was hilarious. I'm like, what is this? He's got them hung up in his bathroom in his man cave.
Best wallpaper ever.
Oh my god.
I love that Tom Savini thinks he's famous enough that we'd want to buy his vodka. I put an arrow through Kevin Bacon's neck. It's like, yeah, good for you, buddy.
See, here's my thing. I met him twice, and both times he disappointed.
Yeah.
The first time was online when, back in the day.
Online dating site.
No, it wasn't an online dating site.
Like,
He used to.
plentyoffish.com.
Yeah. He used to actually take like questions on his website. Like he had like an online forum,
okay.
and every I think it was like every Monday or Friday or something like that. He would answer your question. So you'd submit your question, and he would get back to you. So I just had a question because this was around the time that Land of the Dead had come out, and this predates the Living Dead festival that happens now. So at the time, I had an idea of getting together with like Evan City and putting together some type of festival that honors Night of the Living Dead and that the whole contribution to the fact that is the birthplace of zombies, in my opinion. And so George Romero at the time had no contact information, none.
Well, he lives out in Canada,
Right, but
the wilderness
even
somewhere.
with that, it's extremely difficult to get a hold of him. Mm-hmm. Okay, so I looked at it as, well, maybe Tom Savini is, since he's probably friends with George, because he's been working with him for 20, 30 years, that maybe I could just say, hey, would this be something you and George might be interested in? So I just, as a fan, emailed him, and his response was, oh, that's a cool idea. I'm not the pathway to George Romero, though. And I'm like, okay, you're a fucking dick.
I actually just ran into him up there at the Living Dead weekend.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Savini?
Yeah, he was there.
He was just hanging out?
Yeah. Well, he was... They
paid him to be there?
Yeah.
Okay, so that was the first time. And then I met a friend in college who personally knew Savini and said, listen, give the man another try. He might have just had a bad day. So I'm like, okay, fine. I'll give him another try. And so Horror Hound 07 comes around, and that was my first horror film convention. So, that was where I met Doug Bradley, who I'm still friends with now, and, Savini was there, and my friend Claire and I were like, oh, let's go talk to Savini. I'm thinking, okay, he's going to be a fucking dick. Yeah, I'll give him another try. No problem. So I go up to his table with me and my friend Claire.
I think it'd be hilarious if somebody just jumped to the middle of this podcast and were like, what the fuck?
Yeah, we're talking about Christmas shit, but listen, this is kind of a random
go
one.
on.
So, we go to his table, and, I'm like, oh, hi, how's it going? He's like, oh, hi. And then he just starts beelining it towards my friend Claire and is, talking about how she can go ahead and stay at his school, at his house.
Jugs.
Yeah. You're staring at her tits the whole time, and just so dirty gross. Old fucking man. That's and gross. Completely ignoring me there. Just no interaction at all.
Well, how much cleavage were you showing?
Yes.
That's my problem. That was my problem right
John,
there.
John, you never disappoint. You never do. Fucking disappoint.
Maybe if you wore some heels and some blush, maybe you get more attention.
I guess so. I guess that's the only way that you can really get attention.
Hey, Tom Savini's don't make passes on guys that wear glasses.
I guess.
Just telling you.
I guess. But I guess for me, it was just a kind of a solidification of this guy really doesn't give two shits about his fans. And he just looks at it as a paycheck. And I've talked to other people, and a lot of people have had the same sort of feeling from him. So, I mean, I don't know if he's just got shit going on because he was in Vietnam, basically taking photographs of dead people, or if that's just legitimately how he feels.
Maybe he's just a busy dude.
He could just be a busy dude. I could have just found him on 2 bad days. But all I'm saying is this, from those 2 interactions I've had with him, and then also from hearing from other people, the picture isn't good. Is what I'm saying. So, maybe he will come on the show and prove me wrong.
Ooh, that would be fun.
That would be nice.
Open invitation, Tom.
Yeah, he's got open invitation. That's fine. But anyway, that's just my Tom Savini story. I don't have nearly as good of a one as Fairhead has. Yeah. But that's pretty good. So what were we talking about?
Merry Christmas, assholes.
Anyway. You guys realize we haven't gotten to my picks at all.
I know that. This is going to be a long one, but that's cool.
We took a 37-minute Tom Savini tangent here.
Okay, so what we got?
Taking the mic, are we?
Yeah, I want to be comfortable so that I can explain my favorite specials. Okay, so I'm not going to do specials because I was actually thinking I would do Grinch, but since you explained it already, I'm not going to retread because I was torn between a few anyway. So my favorites are super traditional. The most modern of which is Elf. It's my favorite.
Yeah.
And it's just I'm not a huge Will Ferrell fan by default. I don't love everything he does, but I've really gained an appreciation over time, for the humor. But there's something about that movie that every fucking time I'm like, what if it's not funny anymore? What if it doesn't make me laugh anymore? And every year I just die. It's just so, I don't know. Because I think it's a nice way to combine both my very cynical, hateful heart with my enjoyment of the season. Because there's a lot of elements to it that are very, modern and very, cynical and kind of about, finding the meaning of the holidays in the midst of all of that. And I really like that.
Okay.
It's also the only time I've ever liked Zooey Deschanel in anything.
You don't like her?
No. Oh, are you kidding? No. She sets my teeth on edge.
I like her.
I'm sure she's a nice person. I just find her annoying in movies.
Is it her bug eyes?
No, I don't even think it's necessarily her fault. I just think she's always written as the manic pixie dream girl, and I have absolutely no time for that.
She's the 100% avatar of that, right?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, she may as well just be like a floating vagina with gossamer wings. Like, there's nothing. It's not even like she's a sexy lamp. Like, her characters just aren't written with any depth
one
of
role
any kind.
she's never quite played correctly.
It's true.
The giant floating vagina with gossamer wings.
You guys are welcome.
I would pay to see that.
You pay to see that?
The
Yeah.
next reboot of Spider-Man.
It is. No, she's gonna be a titty.
That's right.
You
Used
said
to be a
she was gonna
titty.
So no,
She
it's
does look
actually
like a squirrel trying to hold in a fart.
Yeah, I mean, a cute squirrel. It's in usually like a retro dress. I mean, like I said, it's nothing against her personally. I mean, I'm sure she's lovely, and I've actually seen interviews with her and read interviews with her where she seems cool. So it's not that this isn't like my fight wall. Like, she and I are cool. I just don't like the way
your
her
fight
characters.
wall.
I don't think her characters are very well written, but I do like her in this.
I'm just gonna say, fuck you, Zoe Deschanel.
Come on,
Oh, God,
John.
come on. Really?
John.
I'm just slightly kidding.
Oh, you're the worst. So that's my first pick. Second pick, we go to Christmas Vacation, National Lampoon.
Oh,
Come
yeah.
on. It's a classic. Quotable all year round, if you're an asshole, which I am. So, but I remember...
Fix the loose post.
I remember at my job, I used to work in another department than I do now, and I had to work in a department that, worked on holidays. And I was working on Christmas Eve, and one of my coworkers... had written, "I don't know, Margot," like as his kind of like message for our internal chat system at work. And then I wrote, "Why is the floor wet, Todd?" And I was like, "Did we just become best friends?" Like, it was so cool because like, I mean, those lines, like, they stick with everybody, So
They
That's
do.
the third John Hughes written piece that we've talked about.
I know, good job, John Hughes. But yeah, I mean, that's like a classic, obviously, for a lot of reasons. And again, like, I'm not usually one to like worship at the altar of Chevy Chase. He's not like one of my favorites per se, but he's just so fucking perfect in that movie, especially I think as Clark Griswold. I mean, it's a good movie. Like, it just makes me feel like Christmas.
Well, as you pointed out, he's kind of a buffoon, but he's not an asshole, which is what makes that, work so well. I'm going to take this microphone back that you stole and get it a lot closer to my mouth here.
Why do you never want to do what I would do?
He's a buffoon, but he's not a jerk. He's not cruel. He's not mean to anybody, and that's why it works.
And he's no one's
You
fool.
want him to succeed, even though he's kind of a doofus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I made that good point, didn't I? And then, so my final pick, super traditional, White Christmas, Rosemary Clooney, amazing ass costumes and singing and shit. Like, come on.
I've actually
It's a
never
very
seen
White
White
Christmas.
Christmas.
Really? Oh, you should.
I'm not a
try
fan of the
it.
traditional stuff, like the Bing Crosby crap. Not my fan.
It's one of my more favorites. It's a Bing Crosby movie that isn't openly racist. Like, Holiday Inn is openly racist. Let's not watch that one ever
Black
again.
Holiday Inn.
It
Has
has
blackface.
blackface in it,
God,
it really does. So
no.
we can't watch that one anymore, guys. I'm sorry. I mean, like, once all the boomers die, hopefully no one watches it again.
Well, it's nice that Bing doesn't beat any small children in this movie.
It's true. Oh,
Just
he
go
only
ahead
did
and
it to
hit
his
him
own.
with a pack of vanilla oranges.
He only did it to his own. It's
Just
okay.
a bunch of oranges.
told you to watch your mouth.
See,
belt, boy.
all right, guys. I'm talking about White Christmas. Right? Just shut the fuck up. But no. So
I'll be giving you White
actually, what's really
Christmas
cool is
later.
our fucking hate you both so much. It's like uncanny, this hatred that's like pouring from my heart. It's making my heart big. It's making my heart large like the Grinch with hate. Anyway, our friends at the
We gotta find a
Hollywood-
clamor somehow through this episode. So
I don't think it's gonna be hard. It's
It
gonna be
never
me
is.
saying I hate you guys a lot.
He
But
wants that Rosemary Pony.
are you done?
Yeah, we're done. I think we're done.
Okay. But Saturday or Sunday, the Hollywood Theater is going to be running White Christmas. So John and I are going. So I'm really excited to see it like on the big screen. I haven't seen it on the big screen since like 2001, maybe. They like reran it at my local theater when I was a kid. But I want to see it on the big screen, and it's just so cool.
Awesome.
And I listen to the soundtrack like all the time.
And because it takes place in the early 1950s, it is a very white Christmas.
I mean, yeah, but like I said,
Oh
it's
my
not open
God.
racist. Yeah,
They're a jazz club, and there's not even any black people.
Oh, shit.
You're kind of right, though. Oh, I
It's
never
true.
thought about that. Well, fine, John. Thanks for ruining everything. You're the best.
At least Danny Kaye was the first openly gay character in the movie.
That's not true, John. He was supposed to be straight in that.
Oh dear. So he's just the first openly gay man in Hollywood. Good to know.
I like so we like talked about all y'all's picks, and then we just like shit all over mine.
We got to shit all over.
You know, there are a couple. I think there are a couple honorable mentions here too.
Turtles Christmas deserves
one. Star Wars Christmas special.
I was gonna say, I can't believe no one brought that up.
Well, that's a holiday special. Came out in November. It's not technically a Christmas special.
Ooh,
Life Day.
I mean,
Life Day.
Hey, I celebrate Life Day. Okay, that's offensive to me. No, thank you.
We should start a move. We should start a Life Day movement.
Life Day movement.
Oh yeah, we'll
Yeah.
just all pretend to be,
Wookiees.
and
If you get a copy of the Star Wars Holiday Special,
It's on YouTube.
Don't watch the YouTube one. You need a copy with the old school commercials.
It's so good.
It's
Oh yeah.
Quick piece of background information. The holiday special was so bad, George Lucas, delete all the copies of that. I'm so fucking pissed. And he wanted all of them out. And they did. They destroyed every print of it. So the only versions that you can ever find, somebody like back in the early ass days of VCRs recorded it. There's like 6 or 7 local affiliate recordings of it, and you can find it. And they have the commercial breaks with the news bumpers in between there, and all the old school Union label, Reggie candy bars.
This
commercials.
crazy robot toy. That's
Tobor.
one of the ones that we have.
The commercials are what really make it. Without the commercials, I feel it's just not the same thing. But.
Yeah, I agree. Because it gives you that whole experience of its, passage through time. Now, my favorite thing to do during the Star Wars Holiday Special is try to figure out who's more high. Because
Yes!
this would have been right after Mark Hamill's really bad car accident. And the reason why they did, the Wampa thing in Empire, because he had plastic surgery after his car accident, so his face was completely different. He has a new nose. And that's why they do that. But he was on the painkillers from that accident in the Holiday Special. And then, of course, Carrie Fisher's in it, and so I like to pretend I like to play the game of who's higher, and Luke and Leia, one of them wins each year. It's like a different winner, just depending on how I'm feeling.
Carrie Fisher's a drug toilet,
Oh, come on. She figured her shit out, but
flugs every pill down that road.
She's like 20 in that though, and she's God bless her, she's high as a fucking kite.
She also was probably banging Han Solo at that time too.
Shit, that probably was then, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Well, no, because they were only together 3 months, right?
I think it was just during Empire, with the filming of Empire Strikes Back.
No, was it during the filming of
I don't
Empire?
know. We'll find out soon because I asked for her book for Christmas.
Oh, okay.
Real quick, just give me the butt.
Whoa,
Go in the back of this Wookiee house and take care of business.
Take it easy. And another honorable mention that I would have, God, you're appalling, is all the South Park Christmas ones. They're
Oh
so
my
fucking
God,
genius.
yes.
They are to Christmas for me, what Treehouse of Horror from The Simpsons is to Halloween.
I think the best one is Christmas Critters.
I like Woodland Critters Christmas. And then what's the one with the boy in the poofball hat? What one's that? What's that one
That's
called?
Christmas Critters.
That's
Is
Woodland
it?
Critters
Yeah.
Christmas. That's the same one, yeah.
Is it
Yeah.
really? Oh, okay.
The other one is, where Santa gets abducted by terror.
Red Sleigh Down.
Yeah, Red
That's
Sleigh
one of our
Down.
favorites too.
It's
And then of course
torture.
the Hanky one.
No, you shocked Santa's balls.
Those are my favorite. We actually have a whole DVD, and we usually watch at least 4 of them.
Yeah.
Just to on Christmas Eve every year we watch them, and I just think they're hysterical, and the songs are really funny. In the ones where they sing and shit, they're pretty good. I love Cartman too in Red Sleigh Down, where he's trying to get all those points for being good.
Yeah.
All in one night, and he's like, "High above the sleigh, we're with Santa today," and trying to suck up and get all these points in his little fucking sweater. Ah.
Well, to bring everything full circle, if you watch the South Park special where they have all of the songs from the CD that came out around that time, after every commercial break, they have Fighting the Frizzies at 11. There was one of the Star Wars holiday specials from one of the local syndications had a news story that was Fighting the Frizzies at 11. So they were homaging the actual bumpers from the Star Wars holiday special that aired.
That seriously is what that is.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's why.
Yeah.
And if you notice, because one of them, it'll be it's sleigh bells, and when they get back to it, and it's Mr. Hanky's in the Star Wars font. That's why.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
I
deep
did not
cut
know
there,
that.
Trey and Matt. Deep cut.
But we see you, Matt and Trey. We see you guys. We appreciate it.
Well, I think we're going to close it out because I think we could talk about Christmas movies forever.
And that kind of ends our journey into the holiday season, because Disney's going to rape our souls again next week as we are slaves to their Star Wars franchise.
Or you could just say we're gonna go see Rogue One.
You
and
could do that, too.
That you love your wife
Oh,
and
that
she
too.
loves Star Wars. You big fucking asshole.
Yeah. But I want to say thank you to Jon Towers for coming out.
Yeah,
Well,
John,
thank you
thanks for
guys.
coming
Yeah,
out.
thank you guys.
So
Sorry about the Tom Savini swerve.
Oh, no, that's
I feel like
cool.
that's my
This is what
fault.
we're here for.
That's cool.
This
That's
is
cool.
important. It broke things up a little
It
bit.
did.
I love it.
It
Yeah,
did. So
absolutely.
your comic book is called The Ages.
Yes.
Where can people find it?
You can go to Amazon and search it. For all of my stuff, you can go to stigmatastudios.com. You can find me on Twitter at JONNYAXX. That was my old wrestling name.
Yep.
Love it.
You can find me on Facebook at Stigmata Studios and on Instagram at Stigmata Studios.
You're on the Instagram now.
Oh, yeah,
huh?
man.
Oh, yeah. That's the shit right there.
I do a lot of process shots on Instagram. People seem
I've
to dig
noticed that.
Yeah, people dig.
noticed
people
that.
dig shit.
So that's awesome. So you can go ahead and like us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Google Plus at Psycho Show. We're also on YouTube now, which is awesome. And I also found out that we're on iHeartRadio as well. So if you go into the iHeartRadio app, you can look up, episodes
very
of the Cinema
cool.
Psycho
Very
Show.
cool.
And followed.
And followed. So go ahead and like us on those, various social medias. If you have a favorite movie or a question you want to throw our way, you can contact us at thecinemapsychoshow.com. And make sure to subscribe to us on iTunes to catch our next episode, available every Friday.
I don't know where the clitoris is, so stop asking that.